Namaste, yogis. So today's Yin Yoga class will be dedicated to finding our Sankalpa. So Sankalpa can be just an intention or it can be finding your true purpose. So often it's very hard to just find your true purpose in one yoga class or one sitting. Um, that if that's the case, then what I'd like you to do is try and think of a mantra where if you find that you're need to be a little bit more calm, if you would like to be a little bit more compassionate, so find a mantra to repeat over and over, something that resonates with you. It starts with I am, so it's always a positive. I am calm. I am compassionate. I'm confident. I am enough. I am beautiful. Whatever it is that you feel like resonates with you, you can use this mantra to say over and over to yourself. If you feel like um, you want to meditate on your purpose or you want to find your Sankalpa, what I'd recommend is just like we have done in day one of the challenge, try to become aware of your thoughts, of your emotions. And from there, over time, if you become more aware, then you become aware of what perhaps you really need, and your purpose may come from there. So, in a yin yoga class, we'll need either a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, maybe grab a couple of pillows from the couch or even pillows from your bed. They're the right shape. You'll need a block and maybe a strap. So don't stress too much if you don't have a block and a strap. You can use a sock. So if you're at home and you've got, like a men's footy sock, that's a good one, or stockings for the strap as well. So let's get started. We're going to bring the bolster to our sacrum. Bring the soles of the feet together. And we're going to start to lay down onto the bolster. Okay, so if that's a little bit too deep, you can just move the body forward so that it's a little bit higher on your spine, and then it's not as deep. If you want to open up the shoulders, if there's no shoulder injuries, you might like to grab the strap and place it over the top of the head. Now, just a reminder with yin yoga poses, or maybe this is your first yin yoga class, we hold the poses for a minimum of 2.5 minutes. So in a normal or a strong vinyasa or hatha yoga class, if you go quite deep into a posture, maybe back off in this class, because it can be quite a lot to hold a pose for more than 2.5 minutes. Start to deepen the breathing. If at any time you feel like there's a sharp pain or there's numbness or tingling, do come out of the posture. Okay, so we don't want pain. Maybe a little bit of discomfort is okay. Discomfort means that we probably need to pay attention to something, that we need to do something a bit more often. So it's like when you have tight hamstrings, and you may need to stretch them a bit more often to get rid of the discomfort and become a bit more flexible. That being said, it's about learning the difference between pain and discomfort. So your pain is your body's way of saying that there's something wrong. So back off if there's pain, sharp pain. If it's just maybe a little bit uncomfortable, we're going to work on some breathing that you can do to try and move past that discomfort. So there's a point there where you need to find your edge. So where you feel like you're being a little bit challenged, but you're not tensing up. We don't want to tense up in yin classes. So we're not going to get the benefits of the poses if we do that. So start to deepen the breathing if you haven't already. Inhale through the nose. Breathing in, filling up the belly, filling up the chest, all the way up to the collarbones. And exhale. Inhale, expand the belly. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Continue to breathe. And generally, most people find that this yoga pose is quite comfortable and relaxing. But if we're in a pose that doesn't feel comfortable, maybe this is uncomfortable, you can really try and draw your attention away by counting the breaths. Inhaling to the count of 4 or 5 or 6. And exhale to the count of 4 or 5 or 6. So just counting in your head. So that's one way to distract yourself or focus. So the idea in yin poses is to remain still for the duration of the posture. Refrain from fidgeting, moving. Try not to itch or scratch. Scratch and itch. And just focus on the breath. Draw the attention back to the breath. We've got 2 more deep breaths here. So breathe in deeply into the belly, all the way down to the belly. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then from here, if you've got the strap, slowly release that. Place the hands on the ground, pushing yourself up nice and slowly. And just leaning over the feet just for a moment. If you can bring the elbows to the ground, do that. If you can bring the head all the way to the ground, I can't quite do that. We're not going to be here long, just a little bit of a counter posture. So pushing yourself up, and we're coming into pigeon pose. So there's a few different variations of pigeon. I'll go through how to do pigeon, I guess the standard way. So from a tabletop position, bring the right knee to the right wrist. This is my right. And then just wiggle that knee back. Now with the foot, it can be close to the body, or you can wriggle it up. So the more parallel to the mat it is, top of the mat, the more intense the stretch will be. So find your spot. You might find that your right hip is quite high. You might like to place a block underneath the right hip, or a pillow if it's the right size, underneath the right hip. Another way to do this one is to bring the leg over the bolster. And that can kind of, you can sit up straight. Maybe just bring the head down. We can lean over the bolster. And then, so use maybe the first 10 to 20 seconds maximum to find the spot that you can hold for the next 3 minutes. And then once you've found that spot, so if you're not sure, don't go too deep. You can go a little bit deeper towards the end. Once you've found that spot, try and remain still. So for some of us, the challenge is not necessarily the yoga pose itself, but it is remaining still in the pose. You know, a lot of people I speak to say that they find it hard to be still. And personally, I love I love being still. I love laying down. I love just relaxing, reclining in yoga. But it can be quite challenging for a lot of people, particularly when there's a lot of things going on in the mind. But it's still really important to make that time to find that stillness. So I talked about before using the breath as a distraction. So with our busy mind, sometimes we need a distraction for which helps to prepare us for meditation. You can use your Sankalpa or your mantra. So a Sankalpa is, like your purpose. So something that you really feel, you really desire, you know that it's the right thing. Whereas a mantra, we have like yoga mantras, but we could use even just an affirmation if it means something more to you. It's something you repeat over and over in your head until you start to believe it. So a common one that often people need, I think, is I am enough. I am enough. And we try and change that neural pathway in the brain, but the our habit where we keep saying to ourselves, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. We need to change that and instead change it to I am enough. Or whatever it is, perhaps, that you've noticed. So remember, you need to be aware of what's going on in your mind before you can start to change it. So from here, take a deep breath in and exhale. And to come out of this, it can be quite challenging. Come out nice and slow. And if we're on the bolster, we can kind of bring ourselves up on the bolster. Or if we're not on the bolster, maybe rolling over to your right hip. Rolling over to the right hip. And then bringing the feet to the front. And bring the hands behind one ear to one shoulder. Just taking a moment here. Notice the feelings in the body, any sensations. And maybe just move the legs around if you feel like you need it. And then we'll come to the other side. So from a tabletop, bring the left knee now to the left wrist. Push that knee back so you can do this without the bolster. If you're doing it without the bolster, bring the bolster to the front. Maybe rest on the bolster. It's very restorative. Or alternatively, you can use the bolster. Probably whatever you did on one side, I would do on the other. It's just about providing you with options. Everybody is different. So we're targeting the hip glute area here. And you might find, like me, that this side's a little bit more tense or tighter than the other. That's totally normal. You don't have to make the exact same shape on both sides. So by now you should have found your shape. By now, hopefully you are still and you're not fidgeting, you're not moving around. Obviously, if there's a pain, definitely come out. The sharp pain we're looking at, where we want to come out. But if it's a little bit uncomfortable, that's okay. It might sound like a cheesy saying, but there's growth. Well, you have to get out of your comfort zone to grow. There's like a little picture where there's the circle and then growth happens. There we go. Growth happens out of your comfort zone. So it's a little bit like that with yoga. If you just stay safe, you're not going to get more flexible. You're not going to, in other types of yoga classes, get stronger. And even just being uncomfortable and remaining still while you're uncomfortable, it's where you can grow and learn a lot about yourself. And you can start to become aware of what are your reactions when you're uncomfortable. So do you just try to ignore that feeling? Do you maybe swear at the teacher in your head? I'm sure that's what a lot of my yoga students do secretly to themselves in my classes. But what's your reaction when you're a little bit out of your comfort zone? Do you just go with the flow? Do you enjoy it? And then does that translate to life? Like, do you find that, okay, you're getting, this might be an uncomfortable pose and you're getting really grumpy at me, and inside your head you're telling me to shut up, and you're feeling irritated. Is that what happens to you when things don't go right in life? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Just something to be aware of, really. Inhale and exhale. So either focusing on that mantra or the breath. You don't have to have a mantra, you don't have to have a Sankalpa. It's just a suggestion. You just choose, try different things and choose what works for you. Okay, taking one more breath here. And exhale. And so maybe coming over on the left hip, moving that leg out of the way. And then from here, just moving the bolster or the pillow out of the way. From here, lengthening the legs. Lengthen both sides. And then we're going to come to a supported bridge pose, followed by a twist. So supported bridge. If you find that you might like to use a pillow, if you've got lower back pain and you find that this makes it worse, definitely go on the lower side. I would also recommend one of the softer blocks rather than these cork blocks. So we want to place the block underneath the sacrum. The feet, oh, the knees are roughly hip distance. Oh. If you find that it feels better just to widen the knees on the lower back, if you find that that feels better, then that's fine, you can do that. Otherwise, you can keep them at hip distance. So we're targeting the lumbar spine here. Use your breath. We'll be here for about another 2 minutes. So whichever level you've got it on, you want to be able to be here for a little while. This is one of my favorite postures. I say that about them all, I think. I really feel like this, I get a stiff lower back, and this really seems to help with a few twists as well. Of course, you go by how you feel. Just noticing those sensations in the lower back. So as you inhale, deeply expand the belly, expand the chest. Maybe your eyes are closed, and then exhale. Imagine your body is just melting into the mat over the block. Do that again. Inhale. Exhale, melt the body. And so finding time to yourself to do some yin style yoga, so the slower pace yoga. I do love a power yoga class, but I think that for a lot of us, we're constantly go all the time. It's just great to do a yin class and to just slow down, to pay attention to what's going on in the body, pay attention to what's going on in the mind. Stop going from, like living a life in autopilot and just reacting to things that happen. And then from here, press the feet into the ground, remove the block, lift up the hips, remove the block, just be quite gentle here. And just place the hips on the ground, notice the sensations. And what I'll get you to do is just with normally we have a curve in the lumbar spine. If you can, and it feels comfortable, just pushing the lower spine into the mat. That's a bit of a counter posture. And I'm kind of pushing on my feet and pushing that lumbar spine into the mat. Just for a moment. And then come back to normal, and we can bring the knees from side to side. It's always good to do a little bit of a twist after a back bend. So from here, we'll come into a twist. Actually, no, we'll come into happy baby. Happy baby is actually quite nice after this back bend. So just lengthen the body long and maybe just move from one side just for a moment to the other side, just getting some length in that back. And then from here, coming into happy baby. So we're bending the knees, and ideally we want the knees come wide, the feet are above the knees, and we might be holding onto the feet on the outside. We might be holding onto the feet on the inside, and we're just letting gravity do the work. Okay, so the lower back is pressing to the ground, the knees are coming towards the ground, but without any effort. If you find that there's no way you're getting to this posture, it might be way too intense, and that's fine. That's the case for a lot of people. You can grab onto the ankles or anywhere along the leg. You can also grab onto the feet and just kind of bring them in towards each other. So that might be more comfortable as well. So there's a few different options there. Maybe to start with, we just rock the baby from side to side, get a little bit of a massage on that lower back. And then find some stillness wherever you are. So this can be definitely one of those poses where it does feel intense. Like you feel like, oh my God, I can't hold this. We've got 2 minutes left. I can't hold this for another 2 minutes. I mean, if you desperately want to come out, but you need to, and you feel like, it's painful, come out. But is it just you creating drama in your head about the posture? Or can you actually hold the posture? Can you distract yourself with the breath or using your mantra? So just notice, this is a great posture to notice what comes up. I personally, some of these postures, if you've never done them before, feel really intense. But I think when you do them, after a while, they feel really, really good. They feel so good. I promise. Maybe some people from my classes might not agree with me, but that's fine. Everybody's different. And we tend to shy away from the poses that we don't like so much, which are probably the ones that we need to do more often. So I've done all of my favorite poses in this class, and what I probably need to do is just, well, in my own practice, I probably need to do the poses that I don't like rather than the ones I like. I've got about another 30 seconds here. So continue to breathe deep. Well done for holding this that long. Taking one more deep breath. And exhale. Release. Bring the feet together if they're not already like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cross the feet over, bring the knees into the chest. We're just going to rock up and down just for a moment. And then come up. We're coming into a twist. So let's go the left hip. Bring the bolster to the left hip, and then the feet come to the right side. Turn to face the bolster, and then lay down onto the bolster. So it's a gentle twist. With the head, you can be facing forward, or you can be facing back. And this pose I like to call the boyfriend pose. The boyfriend. I feel like everyone needs a bolster. It's so good, so restorative.
So refrain from fidgeting, keeping your eyes closed, continue to breathe deep. And let you kind of rest here and stop talking so much. Like giving your feet ease to focus or distract your mind if you need it. Just enjoy the I think one more deep breath here. And opening your eyes, opening yourself up.
And it might be easier just to turn your body around so that your right hip is now facing the bolster, your feet towards the left side, turn to face the bolster, and then place your head down, either looking forward or looking behind. Obviously, it's a deeper stretch if you turn behind for your neck, so feel free to do that if that feels better for you.
then taking one more deep breath here. Inhale and then exhale. Slowly
Bringing the hands to the mat. Coming back up. Move the bolster out of the way. Or actually you can move the bolster out of the way and come into traditional Shavasana with the legs long. I like to finish a yin class with the knees over the bolster. It feels good for the back and it's also quite restorative. So come into Shavasana, into your version of Shavasana. Palms can be by the sides, facing up, the eyes closed. And what I want you to think about is start to visualize when you were or when you are your best self. So when you were happy, when you didn't have to worry about the day-to-day things or have lots of worries on the mind, when you were perhaps not grumpy or tired, when you felt energized. Think of a time when you were your best self. And probably for me, there's two times, and it's better when they're together, is when I'm traveling, I just feel so calm, so relaxed, so at ease, adventurous, energized, curious about the world. And also when I'm spending time with people I really love, like my family or my close friends who really get me, I just feel comfortable, love. So just imagine, when do you feel your best self? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you feeling? Are you feeling happiness? Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling loved, excited? So just start to visualize those moments and how good you really feel in those moments. And so we know that not every moment will be like that. We need sometimes the turbulent times to make us realize how good we have it in the happy times. Start to maybe think about how you can bring some of that joy, some of that excitement, some of that energy, some of that love into your everyday life. It's meant to be just a quick visualization, nothing too stressful. If you're not sure how to bring it into your life, that's okay. Just start to remember when you felt good. Or maybe you feel good now and you're happy to be in the present moment. So try and bring some of those feelings of times in the past to the present moment if you haven't already. So if you can stay a little bit longer, I recommend that you do so. Maybe pause the video or just turn the phone off for a little while. Otherwise, slowly moving the bolster out of the way and rolling over to the side. And then pushing yourself up into a seated position. Maybe keep the eyes closed. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Bring the hands to heart center. And if you want to join me in an Om. If not, just listen, enjoy the calm moment. We'll take a deep breath in and then Om. Inhale. Just place the hands on the knees, maybe the index finger and the thumb together. We just notice any sensations of the vibration through the body of Om. And then bring the hands back to the heart center. Open the eyes, bow the head. Namaste. Thank you guys for joining me. I think it got slightly darker as the sun's starting to set. But yeah, I hope you can join me for the next day of the challenge. Thank you. Good night.